Hello, this is the first video in which I'm going to take you through the basic steps of working with Power BI. And I have decided that the best data set to work with would be the one that Microsoft has created for their Dashboard in a Day course. All you need is your own copy of Power BI and Excel. So in this video I'm going to show you how to set things up, how to download the data from the Microsoft website, and then we're going to take a look at the structure of the different files in the data set to get an idea of what we will need to do in Power Query when we connect to the data. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to connect to the data and download it. Now this page here is a page that actually refers to 9 different one-day courses that are intended for learning Power BI. And down the left-hand side of the page we can see the names of the different courses. So I suppose Dashboard in a Day, which is the one I'm referring to, is like the entry-level course. And at the bottom of the page we have some links that allow you to download the content for attendees, and I've actually put a direct link to that below the video, so you can click on that, download it, and then unzip the zip archive. So if you'd like to just find the link below the video, download it and store it on your computer first and pause the video, then when we come back I'll assume that you've done that. So once you have downloaded the data, you get a set of slides that explain about the course itself, Dashboard in a Day slides. Then you get explanations of the 6 labs. You get some reports, which are the reports that we are aiming for. So these are the solutions, and the DIAD final report is the one that we construct towards the end of the day. And you get some data sets. So let's examine the data sets now. In the folder called US Sales, there is a big CSV file and a spreadsheet. Let's have a look at the CSV file first. I'll just double click on it to open it in Excel. So if I jump to the bottom of the file, you can see it's actually gone right down to the bottom of the sheet, and I think we can assume that there might be some records missed off the bottom. It's got, in this table we have 5 columns. It's supposed to refer to US sales data, and it doesn't specify the location in this particular file. We'll see in a moment that there are other CSV files for other countries, and in each of those they do specify the name of the country. So we might need to add an extra column here to specify the name of the country and say that this one is for USA. The zip code. The zip code at the moment looks like numbers, US zip codes, and of course in some other countries zip codes, postal codes, can contain other characters, not just numbers. So we're going to need to be careful when we merge our data together to make sure that the zip codes are converted to text so that we can have them all in one column in a big table. And then notice that the dates here are US dates, so the middle number goes up above 12. And I'm going to need to be slightly careful about that on my machine because I'm in the UK, and in the UK dates have the normal international format, day, month, year, the day first rather than in the middle. So I'm going to need to do a little adjustment when I bring my data in to make sure that it interprets these dates correctly. Okay, so that's my US data. So now let's compare the data for the other countries. There's a folder called International Sales, and in here, for example, if I open the Canada one, I see the data has the same kind of format as the US data, except that there's an extra column on the end that specifies the country. Everything else is very similar, and notice, as I suggested before, that in this case, with the country being Canada, the zip code isn't a number. So I do have to make sure that the zip codes everywhere are converted to text. And again, the dates here are international format rather than US format. But these files are all in the same folder, and we'll find that when we connect to the international data, there's a clever way in Power Query of loading all of the data from all of the files inside that folder in one step. And we can get it to automatically append the files for the different countries within international sales into one big file. So now we know what our sales data looks like, and there's just the data in the spreadsheet left. Let's go back to US sales and have a look at what is in there. Okay, so first thing to notice is we have 3 sheets in our workbook: product, manufacturer, and something called geo. Now, if we have a look first of all in this geo one, this seems to have information about the geographic locations within our data set, and at the bottom we have Nigeria, and then when I scroll up a little bit I can see there's Japan. So it looks like, if I jump to the top now, this covers all of the different countries and shows how they break down into different areas, including the zip code. And one more time, I obviously need to be careful about these zip codes because some of them aren't numbers, some of them are text. Is this a table? When I click in the data set, I don't see a table design tab appearing. So in Excel terms, this thing, although it looks like a table in the generic sense, is not actually an Excel table. Now in the manufacturer sheet, I've got something that looks rather unpleasant here. What am I going to need to do to this? This looks like, obviously, row 1 is redundant. That doesn't help. And what is in column A looks as if that might work better as column labels rather than row labels. So I'm going to actually need to do a transpose of this data set so that my manufacturer ID, manufacturer and logo become column headings. And then I can do a bit of cleaning up to get rid of the extra row at the top, which will become a column. And again, this is not a table. When I click in it, I don't get a table design tab appearing. How about the product sheet? Now this is a table because when I click in one of these cells, I can see I have a table design tab. And when I click on the table design tab, you can see the name of the table, product table. When I connect to this workbook from Power BI, I will get to a stage in the wizard where it will be offering me 4 different data sets. 3 of them will be numbers of sheets, product, manufacturer and geo, and 1 of them will be the name of the table here. So I'm going to need to be careful not to accidentally load the product data twice, because it appears as the name of the table and also the name of the sheet. So I'm just going to want it as the name of the table, not the sheet. So what sorts of transformations are we going to need to do here? Well, in the category column, I seem to have the name of the category stated once and then a whole lot of gaps, and then a new category, and then a whole lot of gaps, new category, gaps. So that's not a very convenient structure for working with in a database, and really when we're working in Power BI, that's the kind of operation we're going to be working with, database operations. So it would be nice if I could fill in these gaps here. Then this column here, that looks as if it's really the concatenation of 2 separate pieces of data, the product data on the left, and then to the right of the pipe symbol. So I've got a vertical line there, a pipe symbol in the middle. That's the segment. So it's product first, then a pipe, and then the name of the segment. So I'm going to need to split that into 2 separate columns. And similarly for the price, it doesn't help really having some letters that specify the currency and then the price in numbers. I'm not going to be able to do any calculations on those numbers while they're combined with text symbols. So again, I'm going to need to split that into two separate pieces, one for the currency and one for the price. Okay, so those are the sorts of operation that we're going to need to apply to load our data in, and in the next video that's what we're going to do.